What's up guys, AverageGamer here, and today I'm going to be showing off my Qliphort deck. I'm going to go for a few replays first and then go through the deck build just so you can see it in action. This was suggested by Color Splashes, so I hope you enjoy. And on with the replay. So, my opponent is playing a kinda the Exodia deck. The one where you get out this guy and make him like pretty much impossible to beat, but luckily I have skills. Now I'm going to pause here. What I didn't go over was, now obviously Summoner Art, very important card in this deck to bring out another very important card, the Qliphort Scout. I also have Ignite Reload in this deck. Because the Qliphorts are pretty much an all pendulum deck, this card is very good because you can shuffle any number of pendulum monsters from your hand to deck, draw the same amount of cards plus one. So if your hand was, let's say you had the second turn, you had 5 pendulum monsters in this card, you'd essentially shuffle all 5 in, draw 5 plus 1. So it's just a good way if you don't have exactly what you want to try and get something else. And just normal spell and traps on the field. And yep. So I'm with the next part. So obviously use his effect when he's in the pendulum to pay like 800 life points to add a Quill card from your deck to your hand, except himself. But since he's been limited to 1, you can't do that anyway. And then I obviously I pendulumed him to tribute him using the Domain of True Monarchs that I could decrease 1 level monster with 2,800 attack, 1,000 defense, and yep, he just keeps getting popped back thanks to the Obliterate, and my opponent keeps sending Exodia, but I keep popping his Sangan back up as well. And the Qliphort Monolith, whenever you tribute summon, you can draw a number of cards equal to a number of Quill monsters that were tributed. So, as you can see, I've got quite a big hand here. He knocks it back, but I just end up tributing him again, and then using their effects, pop his stuff again, and this guy gets some nice burn. And it's the end of that one. Obviously, if I attacked, he would have lost. On to the next one. This time I'm playing a Judgment Chaos deck, I'm pretty sure it was. So, once again, summoners up, pop out the Quill, add a Monolith. Usually that's what you'll add unless you have something else. And then I ended up just summoning both. Probably would have been better to special summon him, then normal summon him over, so it'd be 24. But yeah, it's alright. End up stopping the Minerva's effect with Dimensional Barrier. And as you can see, we now have got an Obelisk, which is actually pretty fun to run this deck because you're constantly summoning a lot. And yeah, so what I'd like to go over is when he is summoned, he cannot be, cards and card effects can't be activated. He's already unable to be targeted by spells, traps, or card effects. Now, I had this on the field, which was destroyed, but tributed cards you control cannot be destroyed by or targeted by card effects. Now, although he already has that effect, any of the other Qliphorts that I would have summoned via tribute would also gain that effect. So Monarch spell cards are very good with this deck. So, and as you can see, I tributed 3 Quills, so I got 3 cards at the end of my turn thanks to the Monolith. So he goes off with his little play. Since he's unable to be targeted by card effects, his Fairy Tale can't flip or anything, but he just ends up running it over with the Utopia. And then the next turn I end up activating the field spell, which is pretty handy, get into that later, and end up summoning the current boss monster for the deck. And obviously I would not have been able to overrun him this turn, but clearly he knows he would have lost, because he might have assumed I would have summoned again. But yeah, that was one there. And the last replay I'll show you is against an Invoker deck. Now this is a bit more towards the meta, so obviously knowing that I did actually beat it with an old school deck like the Qliphort, is actually pretty good. So he gets a obvious first turn Crystal Wing, and also breaks out the Raiden, or Raideen, or Invoked Raijin, whatever you'd like to say. So he's got a very decent start, plus a Book of Moon face down. But I end up just Pendulum, and then leaving it there. Now he flips him, but doesn't actually matter because Skill Drain. No effects work on the field anymore, so... plus I had the Storm Mirror Force. He ends up saving his Crystal Wing, but because of Skill Drain, my monster is now not going to lose his attack points. And I've now got 3 monsters, very high attack. But he just ends up dark holing them all. And once again, Skill Drain, can't use effect. And now I just end up going for an overkill, but my opponent ends up just destroying himself anyway with the time-space triple. And that's the end of that duel. Alright, so now on to the deck review. Alright guys, here we are with the deck. I'll go through each of the cards and then kind of go over the plays and stuff and what you may like to do as well. So we'll start with, we got 2 Qliphort Monolith, 1 Qliphort Scout, Obelisk Tormentor, 2 Afcolit Skybase, 2 Qliphort Stealth, 2 Shells, 2 Discs, 2 Centerflod, or Centerphilopode, I don't know, 2 Helix, 2 Carrier, 1 Terraforming, triple Summoner's Art, 1 Pot of Riches, 1 Ignite Reload, 1 The Monarch Stormforth, 1 March of the Monarchs, 1 Return of the Monarchs, 1 Sacrifice, 1 Qliphort or Laser Quip, 1 Domain of the True Monarchs, 2 Quilmit Change, 1 Stormy Mirror Force, 1 Qlife's End, 1 Qliphort Launch, 1 Barrier Mirror Force, 1 Dimensional Prison, Dimensional Barrier, Requilate, and a Skill Drain. God, I hate those names. Alright, so on with the card effects. So essentially, you want to have usually these 2 as your Pendulum, but you can use any of the other ones. They're all scales 1 and 9, but you mostly want these 2 because these only have Pendulum effects. These all have monster effects. These ones are just the only ones with Pendulum. So like I said before, this one, at the end of the phase, if you tribute summoned the number of core monsters that were used as tributes, you can draw those amount of cards back. So it's very good for being, once again, using your pendulums to special summon a whole bunch, and then summon a bigger one to then gain back. Qliphort Scout to search out a card. Obviously Obelisk. Once again, now this is the current boss monster, because if I go over, not that, over here and go Quill, the Qliphort Towers is banned, but that was the actual boss monster. Essentially, it has the exact same effect as the Skybase, only this one's slightly stronger. It's a level 10 instead of a 9, and it also, all special summon monsters lose 500 attack and defense. And you can make one monster, your opponent send one monster from the hand or field to the graveyard. It's their choice. Now, obviously, that's a great card, great effect. And this one is, like I said, fairly similar. It has the same base effect that is unaffected by spell or trap cards, and any monster whose level is lower than this card. So, while this one would make anything level 10 or lower, level 10 or lower? I think it'd be level 10 or lower, or at least level 9 or lower. They're all, can't use their effects on this guy. This one can go for, 9 or lower, or 8 or lower, whatever it is. But his secondary effect is you could target one monster your opponent controls and take control of it. So, I mean, it's also a very good effect. It's just that this guy is a bit more easily run over, because it doesn't have the additional all special summon monsters lose 500 attack. It's not often that your opponent's gonna just tribute summon something over 3,000. Anyway, yep. So now we got the stealth. Stealth in the pendulum, it can just make quill monsters gain 300, but when he is special tribute summoned, he gains the effect that you can target one card on the field, return it to your hand, and your opponent cannot do anything to stop it. All quill pendulum monsters have the effect that if they are special summoned or normal summoned without a tribute, they become a level 4 with 1800 attack and 1000 defense. And that is why you have the skill drain. But anyway, we got the Shell. When he is tribute summoned, he gets to make 2 attacks during the battle phase, and he can inflict piercing. The Disc, when he is tribute summoned, you can special summon 2 quill monsters from your deck, but destroy them during the end phase. The Qliphort, he can, when he is summoned, I believe it's on, I won't be able to see the effect, there we go. When he is summoned, you can, if your opponent has more monsters in the graveyard than you, you can gain life points equal to the difference by 300, and then burn your opponent for the same amount. So, as you could see in the match before, I burned him for 6, then 9, then 15, because he kept on getting more and more monsters to the graveyard. Yep. Now, these ones are not tribute summon effect, but when they are the tributes. I think Helix is the one that gets, when he is tributed, target one spell or trap, destroyed it. And the Carrier is when it target one monster, I think it has to be face, nope, could be face up, could be sick. But yeah, target and return it to the hand. So obviously you're trying to just get these ones out here, these guys out here, pendulum summoned, and then tribute them to get these guys, so they get their effect, they get their effect, and then, yeah, it's all good for you. Now, like I said, summons we run 3 of these because add a level 5 or higher normal monster, which is going to be one of these 2. Usually this if you don't have it. That is the main card you want to have at all times, which does suck when it gets destroyed. But like I said, you can always just replace them with one of these. We have a Pot of Riches because you can shuffle 3 pendulum monsters from your deck, into the deck from your graveyard or your extra deck, and draw 2 cards. And you can only special summon via pendulum, which is fine with this deck because it doesn't have any of the special summons. You can run an extra deck if you want, but it's a bit difficult. I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, this works very well because if they get sent to the graveyard, like this guy, which is what you want, or don't want to happen, or anything else really, pop them back into the deck, draw 2 cards, and like I said, since we're only 3 summoners up, use another one to pop them back. And as I went over Ignite Reload before, now the Monarch Storefront, you don't know this card, you probably should. You can target, if you tribute summon this turn, you can use one of your opponent's monsters as a tribute as well. That only works for all of these ones, not the Skybase, because that requires 3 quill tributes. And I obviously showed you March of Monarchs before. Then we got the Return of Monarchs, which is a continuous. You cannot special summon from the extra deck, which it's a bit annoying, but not a big deal in this deck. Well, when they do get destroyed, obviously pendulums go to the extra deck, and then you pop them back. But this one allows you to search monsters. You can add one, either 2400 attack, 1000 defense, which is the lower ones, or you can add a 28 or 1000 defense, but only when you tribute summon. So essentially, if you special summon from your hand one of these guys, tribute one of the big guys, you can add any of them back from your deck, which is, you know, very good. It saves you time from searching it out later, and then your opponent will think, oh, better get rid of that card. It's not that important, because like I said, it stops you from special summon from the extra deck. But yeah, like I said, if your opponent thinks, oh, better get rid of that, they'll waste something to get rid of that, and then you can then start special summoning from the extra deck. The Sacrifice is actually a very good equipped spell card for this. Can only be attached to a quill monster. It gains 300 attack, cannot be destroyed by battle. The equipped monster counts as 2 tributes for a quill monster. Good effect. And also, when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a quill monster from your deck to your hand. So that could be obviously the scout or anything else you need at the moment. It's the fact that it's 2 tributes, which allows you to, if you only have 2 of these, you can then add that to one of them, and then you got your 3 for the big guy, or you can instantly summon one of the level 8s. And this field spell for the deck allows you to just normal summon an additional quill monster. And the normal summons cannot be negated, so it does stop your opponent from, activating something like a trap hole, or I don't know about solemns, but it does say it cannot be negated. Bit iffy on that, you never know. But yeah, it's definitely a very handy field spell when you just need to, when you have, I don't know, one of these guys, and then you can tribute summon over him instead of if you don't have your pendulum up yet. And then we also got the Domain of the True Monarchs. Now, so long as you don't have any cards in your extra deck yet, and since you will most likely tribute summon, all your cards will gain 800 attack when they attack if they're tributed, and your opponent cannot special summon from the extra deck. Plus, you can also, once per turn, reduce the level of one of your bigger monsters by 2, so they can then only require 1 tribute, which is very handy. The Qliphort or climate change is just add 3 quills from your extra deck to your hand. So fairly simple. Stormy Miracles, when your opponent attacks, just return them to the hand. Now, Qliphort's End, you special summon it becomes a monster, 1800 attack, 1000 defense, but it is classed as 3 tributes for an Qliphort monster. Which means if you activate this in your turn, and you have him in your hand, done. It's him summoned. You don't need to, and then you can then spam special summon all the rest of them and whatever, but yeah, it just saves you from having to use any of these, and it can also just quickly save your life in case you've got nothing. And then we got the Qliphort Launch, which just all normal summon quills gain 300 attack, their effects are negated, and they are unaffected by spell or trap cards this turn, which means if you normal summon any of these guys, they drop to their 18, whatever, flip that up, they boost back up to their normal attack, plus gain 300, and cannot be and spell or trap cards won't hurt them, so essentially it's just monsters then. So it is a good card, but I haven't had to use it yet. Haven't drawn it either, but anyway, Burying Merforce, nor just another normal spell tracker, normal, everyone knows Dredge Barrier. The Qliphort, if a normal, this is a continuous, normal or flip summoned, and it's level 4 or lower, its effects are negated this turn. Works well with these guys, because then they'll boost back up to normal attack. The other one is, if it is special summoned, and it is level 5 or higher, its effects are negated, and also banish it when it leaves the field. Now obviously, when you special summon your guys, they're still going to drop to level 4, but they won't get the first effect because they're not normal or flip summoned. But it does mean that they won't be destroyed by the second effect. But it does mean your opponent's ones, if they special summon something, say, a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, effects negated, and when it leaves the field it's banished, so they can't get it back from the graveyard. But the only catch to this card is, so you have to have a quill card on the field, otherwise this card is sent to the graveyard. So it's not a huge downside. I mean, as long as your opponent can't just overrun what you got, this will prevent them for a little while, stop some plays going off and stuff. And then obviously skill drain, at pay 1000 life points, all face up effect monsters lose their effects. Will have them negated. Very useful in this deck, as you saw in that duel. And yeah, so that's my Qliphort deck. Like I said, with the extra deck, in the past I have run Cyber Dragon, Infinity, and Nova, obviously. Only because if you normal summon these are the only ones who can do it. And if they get, well, essentially if you have him, they have to be normal summon, because you can't have either of them in a in a pendulum, because you can't have any pendulum if you're trying to get these out. That's the point. Because all of these pendulum fixes you cannot special summon except Quill. Xyz is technically Sedkuro summoning, so like I said, that's why I don't really run an extra deck, and also it screws up with the Monarch part. A lot of people think you're running Monarchs when they don't set an extra deck, or an Exodia deck, or whatever, but yeah, it's obviously, well, it's not. Surprise. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's up to you if you want to run the Cybers. It is possible to take out the Monarchs, put in different cards to make it work. I just think this works a bit better just only using these. And yeah, so that's the Qliphort deck. I hope you enjoy, and please leave more suggestions down in the comments below, because I really don't mind making a new deck. I always like to try something new, but with these I used to run them a long time ago. But yeah, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.